The majority of this conversation seems in the past to have been focused on taxi companies. Is Uber a taxi company? Let's level the playing field. And we've been thinking about the owners and the companies themselves. But I want to point out that there are two other entities here that are very important. There are workers, and there are users, there are riders. About 3 weeks ago, I was in Las Vegas, Florida, and I used Uber for the first time. And for only $15, we got a ride from the airport to the hotel. It was a Mercedes-Benz. It was beautiful. And the driver said he had just been laid off, and he was very, very grateful for the opportunity to fulfill a demand in the community, and he was making a living at it. On our way back to the airport, a lady was driving, nice vehicle, and we got to choose who we wanted to drive and what kind of vehicle. She told us about her husband who had become very sick, and she was incredibly grateful that she was able to provide a service and earn money by fulfilling a demand in the community. I call you all the great forbidders, and you know that. And the reason is I seem to be in front of you often begging for the freedom to make a phone call to do what grown-up Americans ought to be able to do. And it seems that local government has made it very difficult for us to make good decisions. For example, during March, we used to call it spring break, but during March, if somebody drinks too much and they want to be responsible and call a cab, and maybe there's no cabs available, if they want to call for a ride home, y'all have made it illegal to park a vehicle overnight. That discourages people from being responsible. You've also made it more difficult for people to call and get a ride home. And I'm asking you to consider the other entities involved. Workers have a right to make a living. And it seems to me as though every time there's a demand in the community, y'all rush together and figure out a way to quash it or to protect one industry from upcoming competition from other industries. I know there are a lot of cab companies here, and I respect them very much. In fact, they do a great service. I've used many of them. And I understand why they're here. But as far as regulations go, they're over-regulated themselves. And their argument is, if we have to be this regulated and go over this many obstacles, so should they. But in America, shouldn't we be saying the opposite? Shouldn't we, instead of be arguing for more competition, more regulations for one industry, shouldn't we be arguing for less regulations for all industry? I mean, shouldn't we make it easier to do business? Shouldn't we make it less painful to do business? And shouldn't we allow free Americans to make a phone call and get a ride home without us begging you for that freedom? Thank you.